Hello and welcome to my YouTube. This YouTube is remembering the year 1990. George H.W. Bush was president in 1990. I was 46 years old and I was the Senior Education Development Executive for Apple Computer. During the year of 1990, I advised and consulted with 57 K-12 school districts and 31 different universities scattered across 17 states. I logged 117,000 frequent flyer miles that year. How do I know all of this? I kept a diary. On January 3rd, the United States invasion of Panama, General Manuel Noriega, the deposed strongman of Panama, surrenders to American forces. On January 13th, Douglas Wilder becomes the first elected African American governor as he takes office in Richmond, Virginia. On January 18th in Washington, D.C., Mayor Marion Barry is arrested for drug possession in an FBI sting operation. January 22nd, Robert Tappan Morris Jr. is convicted of releasing the Morris computer worm, which was the first computer worm ever delivered over the internet. And this is the diskette that contained the original worm. On January 24th in Miami, William Lozano, a Hispanic police officer, is sentenced to 7 years in prison for shooting a black motorist in 1989, an event that had set off 3 days of rioting. On January 31st, the first McDonald's opens in Moscow. And as you can see by the crowds lined up, it was a huge success. On February 10th, 2 unidentified men enter a bowling alley in Las Cruces, New Mexico, with the intent of robbing it. But they ultimately shoot 7 civilians, killing 4, and then they set fire to the establishment. And this incident remains unsolved to this day. February 11th, James Buster Douglas knocks out Mike Tyson to win the World Heavyweight Boxing crown. On February 25th, a no-smoking ban takes effect on all domestic U.S. flights of less than 6 hours. I found this amusing cartoon that talked about that. I'll read it. Of course, there is a downside to smoking bans on domestic flights. And here you see a guy standing at the boarding gate, puffing away with as many cigarettes. I mean, look at all the cigarettes piled up at his feet, puffing away just before he gets on the flight. Cute cartoon. On February 27th, Exxon Valdez oil spill. The Exxon and its shipping companies are indicted on 5 criminal counts. On March 6th, the SR-71 sets a U.S. transcontinental speed record of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 17 seconds to fly clear across the United States. On March 9th, Antonia Novello is sworn in as the Surgeon General of the United States, becoming the first female and first Hispanic American to serve in the position. On March 18th, 12 paintings collectively worth $300 million are stolen from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston by two robbers posing as police officers. It is the largest art theft and the largest theft of private property ever. The paintings have not been recovered, and the crime remains unsolved. Here you see the picture frame, and there's no picture in it. This is the wallpaper. And here's another one. They left the frame, they just cut out the picture. $300 million, and they never found the pictures. On March 22nd, a jury in Anchorage, Alaska finds Joseph Hazelwood guilty of misdemeanor negligence for his role in the Exxon Valdez oil spill. He is sentenced to pay $50,000 in restitution and to spend 1,000 hours cleaning oily beaches. On March 28th, U.S. President George Bush posthumously awards Jesse Owens, the great track star, the Congressional Gold Medal. Jesse Owens won a number of gold medals in the 1933 Olympics in Berlin. On April 24th, the Hubble Space Telescope is placed into orbit and starts snapping pictures. I want to show you what I consider the most glorious, beautiful picture ever taken by Hubble, and I'm not alone in this opinion. Here it is. I was just spellbound when I saw this picture for the first time. They named this the Pillars of Creation. You see these big, smoky-looking pillars? Let me tell you what you're looking at. These pillars are 30 trillion miles tall. 30 million miles tall. And these pillars are 35 trillion miles away from Earth. And this is what the Hubble telescope photographed. There's two variations depending upon which kind of a camera in the telescope that they took this with. I was just stunned when I saw this photographed and realized what I am looking at. 30 trillion miles tall. I mean, our minds can't even wrap around what that means. What is 30 trillion miles? On April 28th, A Chorus Line, the longest-running musical in Broadway history, closes after 6,137 performances. On May 16th, The Muppets creator Jim Henson dies at the age of 53. On June 2nd, the Lower Ohio Valley tornado outbreak spawns 88 confirmed tornadoes in Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio, killing 12 people. 37 tornadoes occurred in Indiana, which eclipsed the previous record of 21. Can you imagine dealing with 37 tornadoes in your state? You wouldn't know which way to look. I'm glad I have a basement because I live smack dab in the middle of Indiana. On June 7th, Universal Studios in Florida opens to the public. On June 11th, the United States versus Eichmann. The Supreme Court overturns a 1989 federal law that made it illegal to burn the United States flag. So the Supreme Court says, no, that's just freedom of speech. On June 18th, James Edwards Poe kills 10 people and injures 6 before committing suicide at a General Motors car loan office in Jacksonville, Florida. On June 28th, the Dartman attacks begin in New York City. Somebody was throwing these darts at women. and usually throwing to hit them in the butt. And before he was done, he had thrown darts and hit 53 women were attacked. They eventually caught him. His name was Jerome Wright, and you see him here. Can you imagine walking along the street and suddenly a dart is thrown and hits you in the butt? On June 19th, Pete Rose, a great baseball star, is sentenced to 5 months in prison after pleading guilty to filing false tax returns. July 26, the United States House of Representatives votes to reprimand Representative Barty Frank for conduct stemming from his relationship with a male prostitute. On August 2nd, federal prosecutors indict Representative Floyd H. Flake and his wife on 17 counts of conspiracy, fraud, and tax evasion. On August 12th, Sue, the best preserved Tyrannosaurus rex specimen ever found, is discovered near Faith, South Dakota by Sue Hendrickson. On August 18th in New York City, a jury finds 5 teenagers guilty of raping and assaulting a woman in Central Park in April of 1989. On September 11th, they are sentenced to 5 to 10 years in prison. But years later, a convicted rapist confesses to this crime, and DNA proves that he did it, and the convictions of these 5 men was vacated in 2002 after spending all of those years in prison. They were innocent. On August 26th through the 28th in Gainesville, Florida, police find 5 murdered college students, apparently killed by a serial killer, and they have never solved those murders. 4 women, 1 man. On August 28th, the Plainsfield F5 tornado strikes the towns of Plainfield, Crest Hill, and Joliet, Illinois, killing 29 people. This is the strongest tornado to date to ever strike the Chicago metropolitan area. Can you imagine how many deaths there would have been if this tornado had torn through downtown Chicago? On September 17th, United States Secretary of Defense Dick Cheney fires General Michael Dugan, who was the Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force, for publicly discussing plans to bomb Iraq. On September 26th, the Motion Picture Association of America replaces its X rating with the new NC-17 rating. No children under 17. On September 29th in Washington, D.C., the Washington National Cathedral is finally completed after 83 years of construction. I lived in Washington, D.C., in the suburbs for a number of years, and I've been to this beautiful cathedral several times. It is stunning. On October 2nd, the Senate confirms David Souter to the United States Supreme Court. On October 19th, Leonard Bernstein announces his retirement from conducting after 47 years, and he died 5 days later. On October 24th, United States Secretary of Labor Elizabeth Dole announces her resignation to become the president of the American Red Cross. On October 27th, Congress passes the Clean Air Act of 1990. On November 21st, financier, can't pronounce that word, guy who makes money, Michael Milken is sentenced to 10 years in prison for securities fraud and racketeering. This guy was named the Junk Bond King. Financier, that's what I was trying to say. Financier. On December 3rd at Detroit Metropolitan Airport, a Northwest Airlines collides with another Northwest Airlines flight on the runway, killing 8 passengers and 4 crew members. On December 11th, American mob boss John Gotti is arrested, but he's still smiling. So what was introduced back in 1990? Some of you will recognize these products. Number 1, the Commodore 64 game system came out that year. Very popular device. Plugged it into your TV. The Hewlett-Packard 48 series calculators. This was a very powerful scientific calculator. It could do all kinds of trig functions. The Super Soaker. This was a very powerful water gun, hence the name Soaker, because you would get soaking wet if someone attacked you with this water pistol. Windows 3.0 was released in 1990. So what were the top TV shows in 1990? Coming in at number 1, Cheers. Number 2, 60 Minutes, every Sunday night. Number 3, Roseanne. Number 4, A Different World. And coming in number 5, The Cosby Show. What were the top songs of 1990? What they do is they look at radio plays, record CD sales, jukebox plays, and they have formulas that they calculate what was the top song. Coming in at number 1, Hold On by Wilson Phillips. Coming in at number 2, It Must Have Been Love by Roxette. Number 3, Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor. Number 4, Poison by Belle Div DeVoe. And coming in number 5, Vogue by Madonna. So who were the top singers in 1990? Well, the top singer was a group, Nirvana, number 1. Coming in at number 2, Pearl Jam. Coming in at number 3, Radiohead. Coming in at number 4, Tupac. And coming in at number 5, Red Hot Chili Peppers. So who won the big Academy Awards? The Academy Award for Best Actor went to this fine actor, Daniel Day-Lewis, for the movie My Left Foot. The Academy Award for Best Actress went to this lady, Jessica Tandy, for Driving Miss Daisy. And the Academy Award for Best Picture went to this movie, Driving Miss Daisy. The average annual salary in America in 1990 was $35,353. I know that doesn't sound like much. Let me convert that into our dollars today. That would have been a salary of $85,998.35 in today's dollars due to inflation. The average cost of a new car in 1990 was $15,500. Sounds pretty cheap. Let's convert that to our dollars. That car would have cost you $37,704.70. The average cost of a modest new home in America was $149,800. Converting that to our dollars today, that house would have cost $364,397 in today's dollars. A gallon of gas cost $1.21. Converting that to our dollars today, that gas cost $2.94. 2 days ago, I filled up at Costco and I paid $2.63 for gas. So what popular TV shows premiered in 1990? Came out for the very first time. Law and Order. It's been popular for decades. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Twin Peaks came out that year. Beverly Hills 90210 premiered in 1990. Northern Exposure came out that year. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.